everybody, and welcome to the Lovebird Lane podcast. My name is Julianne and I can be found on Instagram and Ravelry as Lovebird Lane. Thank you so much for joining me today, spending a little bit of time to talk about what I've been working on. Well, it has been a week. It has been a fairly quiet week, thankfully, because I've kind of had it over the last few weeks. I haven't had the best month, and this week's been a little bit more quiet, which has been quite nice. I've done quite a bit of crafting and some varied crafting today, so it's not just knitting content today. I have some spinning and I have some weaving. But yes, it has been a bit more of a quiet week. I had a big day of dyeing yesterday. I've just posted about that on Instagram, so I hope you guys like what I whipped up yesterday, and I'm going to have another dye day before my shop update next week. There will not be a shop update this week. This is the yarn that I dyed yesterday. So this is Dark Earth here, this one at the top. I've got some on sparkle and some on single. And then I've got Solstice underneath, which is a colourway you should recognise because I used this in my rose cardigan, and I haven't actually ever put any of it in the shop. So I thought it was probably about time to add some of that because I was feeling like I was in a little bit of a moody colourway mood yesterday. And then I've got some new colourway down here, which is called the Night Court, which is a Court of Thorn and Roses inspired, and it's just a grey with some speckles of colours that sort of remind me of the Night Court. So these will all be in the shop next week. Yeah, it has been a bit of a quiet week. I have a friend's birthday this weekend, so that's kind of the only thing I think I really, apart from my cleaning work tomorrow, that's probably the only thing I'm going to have to leave the house for, which is very nice. But yes, I am feeling a bit better this week. I am not quite so down as I was last week, which is great. And yeah, I've just been hanging out. Watched a couple of movies on Monday, so I think I'm getting back into the swing of things. And having the dyeing yesterday was really good. It really sort of boosted my spirits, I suppose I could say. I felt really good after a day of dyeing. I was tired, but I was happy. So, you know, that's the best way to be, really, isn't it? So I guess I could get on with what I've been working on. Two of these projects you have seen before. I have one new knit cast on, and I've done some spinning and some weaving, which I will record separately without all of this guff around because I don't really feel like lifting up spinning wheels and looms and things so that you can see. So I will just do that little bit separately, and you'll be able to see what I have been working on. I'll start with this one first because it is I guess the least visible that something has happened on it, and it is my test knit, the Pixelex test knit that I have been working on. I'll grab it out of my bag here. So I think I've finished at least one more repeat since I last showed this to you, so it's getting a little bit longer now. There we go, and I think I'm up to the 7th repeat now. And I need to do 9 before I join in the round with the piece that I knit previously. So I'm getting closer, and I spent some time last night just weaving in all of my ends because they were beginning to bother me. So my ends are woven in, and I'm just noodling away on this one, really. I did a little bit of knitting yesterday on the mesh, the purple mesh section here, and yeah, I'm just doing it a little bit every day. I have 2 or 3 weeks left to get this finished, so yeah, I will get it finished. It'll be done. It's just a matter of spending that little bit of time every day working on it. But yes, it's pretty boring because you can't even really tell that I've done anything on it. The next project that I have been working on is my Cardigan Péridot, which I showed you last week, and I have made quite a bit of progress on this. It is now, if I can get the other sleeve, separated for sleeves. So I have sleeve holes, and I'm just continuing to work down the back. I have just started last night putting in buttonholes, and you can just a little buttonhole there, And yeah, now it's just pretty much backwards and forwards. All my neck increases are all done. Now it's just making sure I put those buttonholes in. This is still a really lovely one to knit. It's still nice and simple. I am on my second ball of yarn, and I think it's a little bit different, but I don't think it's really enough to warrant alternating skeins. I think it's good enough. Like, you can just, I think it's around about here somewhere. You can kind of see just there's little sections that are just a little bit different, but I think it's pretty forgiving. And I figured even if I decide that it is too different, I can see the stripes where the skeins come in, I figured what I would do is just dunk the whole cardigan into another dye bath of some black so that it just sort of tones all of that through. Not going to be a huge deal. But I'm really looking forward to getting this one done. I really want to have this cardigan done, especially because the last week the weather has cooled down a lot. I think it's going to be warming up again next week. But if you remember, I mentioned last week that it was so humid and I was so over it. This week is really cool. Like, I'm wearing socks. I've worn socks for the last 2 days. It's been like early 20 degrees. So I'm here for that, I tell you what. But yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit warmer next week, but which I'm not here for. But yeah, it has been a much more pleasant week, which is possibly why I'm feeling better as well. I'm not hot, I'm not sweaty, and I feel like I've got more energy because I'm not so lethargic from the heat. So I've been doing lots of extra crafting this week. And the last thing that I've been knitting on is I cast on another pair of socks. So my sock mojo's been quite absent for quite a while. However, my friend Emma was around on the weekend. If you're still watching this, Emma, hi! And she is going back to America soon, and even though it's going to be, I guess, spring, because she's going in March, I guess it's going to be spring in the US, but she's going to a very cold area of America, so socks are in order. I showed her 2 different skeins of yarn the other day, and she couldn't decide on which one, so I just decided to pick one for her. And possibly, if I get time, I will knit the second pair as well. So these are just my vanilla socks that I've got the free pattern on Ravelry if you're interested in how I make my socks. And this yarn is Knit Picks Chroma Twist Fingering, which I believe is a discontinued base. This skein I actually got in a grab bag that Knit Picks were doing. If you've been watching for a while, you'll know that probably just over a year ago I was knitting 2 pairs of socks that are called His and Hers socks for Simon and I out of this same base. So I really love this base. It's really lovely, and I wish they could bring it back because it's almost got like a hand spun feel to it. It's sort of rustic, but it's got that kind of barber poling kind of shifting colorway because it's essentially a gradient, but it has this shifting sort of each ply shifts through different colors, and it's almost like a like a hand spun. It's a similar effect to what the spin cycle yarns do, the way they kind of cycle through colors as well. So yeah, I really love this one, and I'm really sad that they don't sell it anymore. So that's the rest of my cake there. I don't know how Emma's going to like this real neon greeny yellow fluoro colour here, but on the whole, it's just going to be a short section of the sock. So I'm down past the heel, and she has relatively small feet. She's only petite, so she has about size 7 feet, so I won't be knitting for too long on the foot, and then I can get on to the second one and maybe even knit a second pair for her. I think I've got 3 weeks before she goes, so we'll see how that works out. So this week I've been doing some spinning as well, as I mentioned, and I have 2 bobbins here that I completed. These are both ones that I had kind of already on the go. This one is just something for the shop. This is some merino alpaca. It is a 70-30 blend, and I just basically have just spun this. I spin worsted, just spun. I tend to just let the fibre tell me how it wants to be spun. So you can see it's just mildly thick and thin in there. This will become a 3-ply, so a lot of that thick and thin will sort of even out. And this one here is some fibre that I got from a dyer called Owl About Yarn, and this is being spun on my electric eel nano, and I finished this bobbin the other day, and then I have started the second bobbin as well. And as well as that, I have also been working on my avocado dyed fibre, so that's it here. You can see it's very, very soft pink, and again, this fibre, I didn't do a very good job dyeing it. I actually felted it quite a bit. I don't know if you really be able to see, but it's quite dense. It became very, very dense, and I'm having to kind of, I know some spinners that draft sort of lengthwise. I'm having to kind of draft it sideways just to get the fibres to unstick from each other. So the spinning of this is a little bit hit and miss, but again, this one's going to be a 3-ply. I've done the first 2 bobbins. This is my third, so once this one's done, this will be getting plied. So I can't wait for that. I'm really excited to see how the soft undulations in this sort of pinky avocado dyed fibre go together, and that's my spinning. And the final thing I've been working on this week is some weaving. So you might recognize this warp from the last piece of bag fabric that I made. This is hedgehog fibres in their skinny singles base. You can see it's getting quite fluffy from the agitation of the heddle going backwards and forwards across the yarn. This is their colour Heyday, I believe it is called. So I am now adding some navy to it. This is Cola Girl Collective. I cannot remember the base name, something about Paris, and it's just basically a tonal navy blue, and it's on her silver sparkle base, and I'm really enjoying the way the little blips of colour from the Heyday are just popping through the navy. This was supposed to be bag fabric to make project bags for my shop, but I'm kind of feeling like I really, really like this, and I might actually keep it for myself to make something out of. I don't have a whole ton of warp left. You can see that's actually quite small. There's not a lot really in there. So I don't know how much I'm going to, it won't be a scarf or anything like that, but possibly I can make myself a tote bag or something out of it, and a project bag, who knows. But yeah, I really am enjoying the way this navy blue is playing with those really bright neon pops of colour, and that is my weaving. And that's pretty much all she wrote, folks. I don't really have a lot more to talk about. I've been trying out some new recipes this week for my my weight loss and the vlog and that sort of thing. So if you're interested in seeing some of that stuff, that's on my second channel. And yeah, that's probably about it. A lot of people got in touch with me regarding their favorite exercises last week, and I must say I have been very remiss in actually reading those. I had a quick scan, but I didn't actually do a good read, which I will go back and do hopefully today, and I will get in touch with everybody who left a comment. Thank you for leaving a comment though, and I will be in touch. I saw that walking was actually quite popular. I guess it's probably because it's free and it's easy and it's open to everybody, because walking is one of my favorite exercises as well. And yeah, it was thank you so much. It was lovely to see all those comments fly in, and I will get back to you, I promise. Not fingers crossed, promise. I will reply to your comments. and I haven't thought of a question again for this week. Maybe I'll borrow a question this week from one of the people that I follow on Instagram, one of my followers as well. So Alexandra asked on Instagram, where do you wear your hand knit socks? So if you're a knitter and a sock knitter, I should say, and you have your hand knit socks, where do you wear them? Because she was worried that, she only wears them around the house and to bed because she thinks that they're too precious and she doesn't want to ruin her hand knit socks. However, I wear my socks all the time. When it's cold, I get really cold feet, so I tend to wear my socks all of the time. And I've been doing socks for getting on for 6 years now. I've been knitting socks and I have not yet lost a pair. I've had a couple that have had a little bit of a thin spot, which I have, just darned. The closest that I'm getting is the very, very first pair of socks that I knit is getting very long in the tooth, and I think it's getting a little bit thin along the whole base of the sock. But that was knit on very large needles. As you probably are aware now, I knit my socks on 2.25mm needles for myself. Other than that, I do knit them on 2.5mm needles, and these ones were knit on 2.75mm needles. So they were quite a looser gauge for my first ever pair of socks that I knit. And they are finally, after nearly 6 years, about to kick the bucket. So I think that's pretty good wear out of a pair of hand knit socks. So I tend to wear my socks everywhere. I pretty much wear them at home with no shoes on. I wear them out. I wear them in boots. I wear them in shoes. I wear them in sneakers. I wear my hand knit socks everywhere. I live in them in winter. So I would love to hear whether you think your hand knit socks are far too precious to wear out and about and get beaten around in boots, or if you keep them for the house, or if you're like me and you wear them all over the place. I would love to know how you wear your socks. And if you have any favourite sock yarn dyers, please let us know those as well, because, it could be something that somebody is not aware of. It could be an indie dyer out there that somebody else is not aware of, and we can get more eyes onto them. So please let me know that down in the comments. And of course, if you have any questions for me, also put those down in the comments, and I will attempt to answer them for you either on the podcast or in a comment back to you. And as always, show notes are down in the description, including links to everything that I've spoken about today, all of my projects and things like that. And I think I might leave it there because there's not really much else for me to say, and I'm just going to end up blathering too much, and nobody wants that. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. And please do give me a like if you liked it, and if you really loved it, make sure that you are subscribed to the podcast by clicking that subscribe button, and turn on notifications if you'd like to get them. And until next week, I would like to wish you all happy knitting, happy crafting, and please do take care of yourselves. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.